What's up, y'all? Back with another video, and today I want to talk about why I quit trading, right? And essentially, I'm starting a series here, right? Because there's a lot of misconceptions about trading, about business, about everything. So I really want to let's be realistic. Let's go and listen to the real problems that people are having, and then let's talk about those, right? And start to figure out how we can break down some of this stuff, man. Because I've been there. We all share common struggles, and it doesn't even matter the industry. It's all really the same, right? So essentially, I'm starting this series and we're going to go over different things. We're going to see real live feedback from people that are really struggling out here with some things. Some of it's going to be enlightening, right? So we might have some good stuff, but a lot of it's going to be the challenges that people are facing. So today is why I quit trading. So I'm just going to get right into it because let's not waste any time. Like I said, I can go on. So let's not waste any time. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to share my screen. So let's talk about it. All right. Why I quit trading. So long post. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to go down to their TLDR for the folks that, the attention spans are short. We're going to go down to TLDR for you. Too long didn't read. So could not find consistency after 2 years of trying, found out a very, very tiny percent of day traders make good money, and it wasn't clear at all how long, if ever, could take to get there. Stress was too much, struggle to find meaning and satisfaction with the job. Okay, so that's everything bundled up, right? So I think the first thing I have to say is I think everybody has been there at some point where they felt like they should just give up on something and maybe it wasn't worth it. And, that could be a new business that you started. That could be, maybe you decided on a major and it's not working out. I think we've all been there, right? So my TLDR is you need to know what your purpose is and if it's really for you. But anyway, let's go into the details and see what they're talking about. So why I quit trading. I tried day trading for just under 2 years, from 2020 to 2022. Having a mix of math and computer background and being of competitive/sporty nature, I thought it could be a good fit if I could ever make it to the algo land. And I'm going to say this before we even go any further. Having a mix of math and computer background. They said that, and I'm going to tell you, like, my background is aerospace engineering, computer science, really hardcore engineering stuff. And guess what? It don't make a lick of beans. Just because you come from some really skilled trades or disciplines, that has nothing to do with this business. Y'all can throw that out. It doesn't matter what you do. You could be very successful and you could be working as a cashier somewhere, or you could be a NASA scientist and be successful at this. You could be a NASA scientist and suck at this and, be an overnight stalker and be very good at this. So we got to wipe that out. But anyway, let's keep going on what they said. So try paper trading for a few quarters and real trading for a few months. Tune into some trading channels before reaching the conclusion it wasn't for me. Reasons. 1. Didn't reach consistency beyond 10 days trading New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ. Even on my positive days, I felt like some of my wins were lucky no matter what strategy I used. 2. Found out it's mostly, not entirely, like Poker Championship where winner takes it all. Okay. So they say Trader TV, live YouTube channel owned by DTTW, one of the largest prop trading firms, sometimes shared their top 10 daily traders results among the few thousand traders they have on. And it was striking that the number 10 on their top list was barely making over 1K, which was my eventual target for good days. Imagine only about 0.3% of traders made my daily target on any given day. So I had to make it to that very thin top tier traders before figuring out how to stay there every day. Determined that there was a very low chance of success for me, too low to justify investment of my time and capital, especially not knowing when, if ever, I will get to my target. Number 3, the level of stress, even on good days, was a bit too much. Sean Katina, who is a very successful trader and the teacher on the channel, once said he wouldn't recommend the job to his kids for the level of stress it brings daily. 4, very personal, but I struggle to find meaning and satisfaction with the job. I guess this could have changed if I could consistently make great money and be able to contribute to society in some other ways. But when I compare myself to doctors, teachers, and others who serve the society directly through their jobs, I felt I couldn't be satisfied long term. Yeah, so that was my story. And then they go on to, talk about, thanks to people for their viewpoints. And we'll go through some of these comments and things. And they say this: obviously people approach trading in different stages of their life with different amount of capital, different cost of living, and consequently different length of runway ahead of them. Having kids, a mortgage, and other costs, I had limited time span to test my abilities in the field. My idea was a simple 2-step plan. 1, try traditional day trading to identify strategies and risk management that delivers consistent profitability. And 2, automate those strategies and techniques using algos. It was clear to me that this was too ambitious of a target for the amount of capital and time available to me because I could never even achieve step 1 in 2 years. It did not help that I found out what tiny percentage of traders ever make the amount of money I was after. Maybe I should have checked that before the start. As a principal, I like to enter competitions and situations, such fields that I have a fair to good chance for success, and I received data that was not the case. Porter 5 principle. I faced the question of how much more capital and time was needed to reach my goals, and the problem was there was no definitive answer whatsoever. I could have reached consistent profitability in 3 more years, 7 more years, or 17 more years, and I knew I didn't have the luxury of unlimited time and money. As a pragmatic person responsible for the finances of my family, I had to set milestones for myself with consequences. Since I couldn't deliver on the final milestone, the consequences was to pivot. Fail fast principle. I'm confident I made the right decision for me and my family, as I've been able to switch back to my area of expertise, exceed my financial targets with a lot less stress, and much bigger sense of fulfillment. Thanks again for sharing your thoughts, and wish you all well in your trading journey. Okay, so that's a whole lot to unpack. And I'm going to give kind of some of my initial surface level feedback, and then we're going to get into some of the comments, right? So, I first got to start off by saying this person... 2 years. Yes, there are people that are able to do this in less than 2 years, right? They're able to get this, they're able to be consistent or whatever, but that's not everybody's story, man. That's not everybody's story. So this is, I hate to say it, but it's just like, it's unrealistic to put that kind of pressure and stress on yourself to say, 2 years, right? And they kept referring to this as a job, which I hate to say it, but you have to treat this like a business, right? But the reality is you usually are most successful at the things that you really enjoy. So like if you're going to do this for a job, then maybe you should have gone somewhere where you can actually immediately become an employee of a company and learn up under their wing and so on and so forth. Approaching this from an independent standpoint, looking at it like a job, it's just not gonna work, man, because from my personal experience, you kind of have to be obsessed with this stuff. And I think that happens for a lot of people in a lot of businesses, right? You go to start this business and it's not working and you're quick to give up. And a lot of times because you really don't even have an interest. 9 times out of 10, this guy or girl, woman or man, came into this because they saw the potential. They saw the people making all this money online, because we have to, let me switch back over for a minute, but we have to be realistic with ourselves, right? So you got these gurus online, everybody's showing all these great profits, everybody's showing how they're living these wonderful lifestyles from trading, and nobody's showing the grit, the tears, the angry days, the phases that you go through. I mean, because even great traders go through bad ruts, right? And they got to dig themselves out of it. So there's a lot of mental work that comes with this. But I think that if you don't really enjoy trading, I don't care. It's just not going to work, because 2 years, some people, it take 10 years for them to get there, right? Like I'm a slow bloomer myself. So I think that's just kind of unrealistic, right? So, but okay. So let's read into it a little bit more. Let me see something real quick. I can't adjust that. Okay. So, so I was like, okay, so you essentially, you didn't reach consistency beyond 10 days. Even though you're positive, I felt some of the wins were lucky no matter what strategy I use. One, it kind of sounded like you probably were hopping strategy to strategy. You weren't given enough time for the strategies to even stick. I've definitely been guilty of this several times, and you find something that seems to be working and then something breaks down in that, so you shift to another strategy, when in reality we have to remember that the market is fluid and things change, and sometimes your perception of the market, even though you're using the same strategy, your perception of the market is changing, and maybe you're doing something slightly different, and you're not really being methodical in your approach, and so therefore you're approaching the market different. So you can have a great month and then and you be using the same strategy, and the next month not be that great, right? And you come back and the next month be wonderful, right? So yeah. So two, they said Fountain is mostly not entirely like poker championship where winner takes all. I mean, I don't agree with that, but if that's how you feel, then okay. So I think one of the big things I notice here is about the only 0.3% of traders made their daily target. It's like, where are you getting your data from? I don't know where you're getting your data from. Now, they do say that 90% of traders are not successful. And, I believe that, because a lot of people, they come into this and they don't really give it the time. It takes a lot of time. You got to spend a lot of time on these charts and things in order to become, I shouldn't say fluent, but to become, well-versed and develop your edge in these markets. Like, it's not enough to come in here, go study some strategy and just go out there and just do it, because the market is its own being. It's like its own living being. It is the combination of all of these different people and businesses on a chart with numbers, bars, however you trade, whatever you look at, contracts. So, I mean, I think that, that number isn't really accurate, but I will agree that most people aren't successful in this, but that doesn't mean you can't be successful. That's really the takeaway for me. It doesn't mean that you can't be successful, right? But it means you're going to have to put in the work, and you have to realize this is not overnight, and you've got to be obsessed with it. And if you're just looking at it for the money, then it's probably not going to work out for you, right? Yes, we all want to make money in this. We all come to trading to make money, but we need to be really focused on being really great at what we do. The money will come, right? So if you read Will Smith's book, he was talking about his dad. So his dad essentially made them rebuild this brick wall, and you have to go read it to know the whole story behind that. But his kids, they, which included Will, were, fed up with having to lay this wall. Like, I don't know why we got to keep on, put this wall. They were focused on the wall. And he was like, stop focusing on the wall. Focus on laying the perfect brick, right? So I say that because we have to focus in trading. We've got to focus on taking the perfect trade, right? So we got to focus on taking the best trade. We can't be focused on, okay, I got to make $10,000 this month. No, I need to be focused on this one trade that I'm taking right now. That is what is most important. It's the trade that I'm looking at right now, analyzing this market and deciding what is going to be the best setup that's going to give me the greatest probability right now. All the other stuff doesn't matter. The past, the present, none of that matters. It just matters about this one trade, right? So that's the reason that I say that. But he also goes on to talk about the level of stress, even on good days, was a bit too much. And I mean, it's true. It's stressful, but I think anything you do in life can be stressful, and we all have to figure out ways to deal with that. I think in trading, you really end up being in a battle with yourself, right? So it really turns into you learning who you are. And I really think you start to see all the bad qualities about yourself when you start trading. You have to learn how to overcome all of those and get all those people, those voices and things inside of you. You have to learn how to get them in check. And so I think that's why it becomes stressful, is because it's challenging, right? And it's challenging to show up to a market and, you lost the day before, you lost a month before, you lost a year before. It's challenging to keep showing up and be in a good spirit. So I think it's important to develop a routine. It's important to, go and be with yourself, right? Really go and be with yourself. This, to me, this is the biggest one that stands out, which was this number 4, where they were talking about very personal, but I struggle to find meaning and satisfaction with the job. First off, I can't call this a job. To me, it's not a job. Like, this is something that I love to do. But I think when you're talking about you're struggling to find meaning and satisfaction, it's not for you. Like, that sentence alone to me tells me it's not for you, because even on my worst days, like, yeah, I go and deal with that, bam. But I'm like, that junk gets shook off real quick, and I'm like, man, let me go back. Let me go back to this. Let me figure out what I could have done differently. Let me figure out how I could have approached the market and really cleared this, because I see how the market ran. Like, the market ran ridiculously. How could I have capitalized on this movement, right? And then I'm like, okay, I see what I did wrong, or I see that I didn't follow my rules, or I just took my profits too early, and I just jacked myself, right? So that's my opinion on that, right? So, and she starts to talk about the fact that they have a family they got to take care of. I'm assuming this is a man, because there's this great responsibility for the family, and I understand that it's definitely something that you'll have to do in whatever free time that you have. And there's a lot of people that they got successful with this because they spent nights, right? Like, they went to their 9 to 5, and I'm one of those people. Go to your 9 to 5, and then you spend that whole rest of your time working on this. Now, I haven't had young kids or anything to tend to, so that hasn't necessarily been an issue for me. And I can see how that could be an issue for you if you have a family to raise. So you have to figure out how you can manage that. But I mean, I think that you can definitely do this with working a job. It's just, you're going to sacrifice some of your time. You know what I mean? Like, some of that free time that you would be going to do things, or, going to sleep early, or watching some TV. You're going to have to sacrifice that, and you're going to have to get on these charts. Like, that's it. You have to get on these charts. You've got to go and see it over and over and over again. You've got to go and check out your setups. I mean, there's no substitute for it, guys. There's really no substitute for it. You got to be on these charts. So, okay, let's get into some of these comments, because I want to see what the people are saying. Now, I gave my 2 cents. Somebody says, I know that feeling. And this is exactly why I wanted to talk about this, because so many people go through this. And again, it's not just in trading, it's in everything. So he says, I know that feeling. Somebody says, dare someone mention crypto to you? Yes, we have all got wrecked, as they call it, in crypto before, and it never stopped me from continuing to invest, because I've had some really great success in crypto as well. Let's see. YouTubers will recycle the same lame strategies over and over, just because they cater to the next wave of new trades that comes up every few years. That's a big one, y'all. That's a big one. Sorry, I wasn't even showing that part of the screen, but that's a big one. This one right here about the strategies. That goes back to what I was talking about. Like, y'all got to stop watching these YouTube gurus that are selling you dreams. A lot of these people, and it's not just in trading, but it's in real estate. It's in whatever business that you can think of. There are a lot of these, and even in like tech and stuff. Government contracting, whatever. There's a lot of these people that are selling you this dream, making it seem as though they do a ton out here. They're really successful in whatever business they're in. And the reality is they don't really do the business, y'all. They really don't do the business. They're really just selling you how you can do it. They're making it seem as though they really do this, but they're selling you courses and mentoring and things of that sort. So I think it's really important to not get caught up in that hype. And the other part of it is, I don't care what strategy you learn for someone. If it's, even though it's working for them, it may not work for you, right? Because they're a completely different individual, and you could take the same strategy and you give it to two people and they still will see something different in the market. Like, that's just real. That's just real. Let's see what else people are saying. All right, so this person said, many great traders took many years to get where they are. I wouldn't beat myself up for 2 years of inconsistency. As a simple exercise, list down 3 things. If there are 3, for me there was, you may have fewer or more, that you can objectively see are hurting your gains. Then eliminate those one by one. I'm sure after 2 years of trading, you would have noticed at least one thing that you were doing consistently that is hurting your P&L. Eliminate that. Sounds simple, but it took me 4+ years and a lot of money to learn that. It also helps if this isn't your only source of income. The pressure to perform, if this is your only job, is tremendous. Not to say it can't be done. I just can't imagine doing that. I always had a full-time job and still do. So this is simply extra pocket money. Man, that right there is real. I'm really with that person. I think that's great advice. One, don't beat yourself up. There's people that don't get this, but guess what? I was watching something the other day and the person said, don't think that I'm lucky. I just failed more times than you tried. That's a word, man. I failed more times than you tried. In other words, you're giving up too soon. But again, this person here, this is just probably not a good patch for them. And I also agree that it is difficult to trade when you're relying on that as your primary source of income. You need to really be making a substantial amount of money in it before you rely on it as your primary source of income, else it becomes stressful. Trust me, it really does. It really does. It becomes really stressful because, your livelihood depends on whether you can pull money out of the market, on a regular basis, on a consistent basis. But I think it is important to learn what mistakes am I making? And I think a lot of times, if you come back to it, you're just not following your rules. And then what you'll find out is if you are following your rules, then you probably need to go and make sure you're tracking your trades and kind of look and see, how am I performing? Because 9 times out of 10, you'll probably realize that you have no edge. Your trades really aren't good. Like, you aren't taking great entries at all. And you need to go back to the drawing boards. You need to go study more. You need to find a strategy that really does work for you, because what you're doing it just doesn't work. Let's see what else they're saying. So this person saying, you honest man, I advise you to check my prediction based on real logic, math, and gold this week and week 4. Okay, we can ignore that. That's bull there. Let's see what this person says. They recommended looking at someone. They said these are all great people. That if you really put the time and effort into studying and then proving your own version, this is so key. Proving your own version and variances of their strategies on demo, you can really have something for yourself. This is his journey, not a destination. This is a capital preservation business. This is a business at the end of the day. It needs to be treated like that. And like a professional athletes train every day. I mean, listen, a lot of people, unfortunately, are more in love with the idea of either making a lot of money or trading their way out of their current situation. It is just a recipe for disaster, and it'll never work. Not starting with demo also causes some pretty serious scar tissue in the future that's almost impossible to shake. There's a lot of things you need to ask yourself if it's not working out. And you'll find there's a lot more stuff you could have or can currently be doing to improve each and every day. I love the market, and I love just showing up every day. Even if it's just a show, even if it's just a watch and I don't participate, I love everything about it. I love the market more than I love money, and that's why the money comes in. This person right here, they get it. They get it. They get it. They love the market. This is the key. You've got to love it. You've got to show up. You've got to do the work. You've got to do the process. Day in, day out, whether you succeeded or not, you've got to show up every day. That is the difference between a person that wins and a person that loses in this world. Period. That's it. I don't care what it is. This is bigger than just trading, y'all. These are the keys to success. You got to show up every day. You got to work on your craft. That's it, man. All right, this person, they said this is a journey, not a destination. Capital preservation. Live to trade another day. I've heard that so many times, and I feel like you never really truly know what that means until you got no capital to trade the next day. So, yes, it is a business. It needs to be treated like that. But you got to put in the work. And we already kind of hit on this, but it is key. It's important for you to, as you're working through these different strategies and things, you got to make this stuff your own, man. You got to make this stuff your own because you just don't see the market the same way somebody else does. But you can process more data than you think you can. So get on those charts, man. Just get on the charts. That's it. Just get on the charts. Let's see some other stuff. As someone who has been day trading for 25 years, your reasons for quitting are also common. Just as some people are built to sell real estate, be doctors, teach, or act, it's just not for everyone. It's trading business. Good luck in your future endeavors. My suggestion, don't look back. This person says 1 feelings, 2 feelings, 3 feelings, 4 feelings. Yes, agreed. Trade is not for you. Good decision. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's probably not. It's just not. And it is. You have to be a master of your feelings. And that doesn't necessarily mean that every day, oh yeah, I don't get upset about anything. No, it's okay to be emotional, but we have to learn how to keep ourselves in check and not let it come into our trading, right? But the thing that got me was the person said, that person before, and said just some people are built to sell real estate, be doctors, teach, or act. It's just not for everyone. It's trading business. And I think the person that said why they quit trading, one of the things that they said that really resonated with me was that, they felt like the work they were doing, it wasn't impactful. It didn't help. It didn't help the world, right? And I seen this, and I think you have to get out of this whole mindset, right? Because, there are people that feel like, okay, well, now I got to be here all day. They kind of attach the time to the money because you're so used to that, right? You're trading time for money out here in the world working. I make $70 an hour and, I work X hours, so I make this money, right? So in trading, it's a complete opposite. You can sit down and make $700 in 2 minutes and you can walk away. You don't have to sit there and stay there. And I think the whole purpose part, maybe you're taking those funds, and a lot of people that really are successful at this, they're taking those funds and they're investing in other things, right? They're investing in other things, other businesses. This really doesn't end up being the only thing they do. It ends up being a tool. It's a tool to heck, maybe support a charity organization they're doing. Maybe they're giving, they're supporting kids learning how to do some of these things. Maybe you're helping other people create sustainable lives. You know what I'm saying? So I think if you felt like that it isn't valuable and you're kind of making it appear like it's this kind of selfish trade, I think that's the other thing that would make you not be able to be successful at this, because you look at it as, oh, I'm taking from others, when in reality it's just about the craft, right? Because the people that are taking the other side of the trades, they're willing participants, and the money is going to be flowing through this regardless. So come in here, learn this, take the money and use it as a tool for other things that you want to do. Maybe you're not even in this for a long time. Maybe you decide, okay, I'm going to run up, a little bag here, and or I'm just going to do this when I want to. Maybe it's your vacation money. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's the money that you're putting away to, send your kid off to school. I don't know. But I don't know. I just feel like you shouldn't look at it like that. You shouldn't look at it like that. Now, here goes one of the trolls, but I'm going to read it anyway because people are crazy. This person said, you failed because you didn't have enough capital. Did you try mortgaging your house or selling your left kidney? Also, you probably had the wrong settings on your MACD. I built what I call the magic stochasticator to really snipe my entries. I assume you weren't trading during the diamond hour. This is when the big boys start closing their trades, right before they go on their daily coke and horror benders. What a noob. I think really what that person is trying to say is everybody's looking for the Holy Grail. There is no Holy Grail in trading. Like, that is the truth. There's no Holy Grail in trading. You will have losses. And you're a risk manager, right? So you're finding the best strategy, the best edge that you can have in a market, and you're going out there and you're being reasonable. So, I mean, I do think a lot of people just come in here and they just willy nilly trying whatever, right? They're not really building a consistent strategy that's repeatable, methodical, and they're not approaching this like a business. They're approaching this like the lottery. This is definitely not the lottery. And true enough, you could say that trading is similar to gambling, but the reason why I don't consider it gambling is because I feel as though, like, a lot of times in a lot of gambling, you don't have a lot of data to go off of. I think in trading, you have a lot of information to go off of. Yeah, the market can still do what it wants to do, but I feel like you have a lot of information presented to you to make the best educated decisions, right? I mean, we could even talk about being a doctor. Like, they call it practicing. They call it practicing because they don't have all the answers. They don't know everything, and they're treating people and not necessarily, it doesn't mean it's going to work out, right? Like, unfortunately everybody comes off the table doesn't make it, man. And I hate to say that, but you got to realize that you can make this more than what you're dumbing it down to be, because it's bigger than that, man. It really is. It really is. We're almost done with these comments, so let's see what else we got. This didn't sound like you had a strategy. It sounds like you gambled. Math has a small percent to do with trading. Computer skills, a very small percent. You can set up hotkeys to trade. You need to learn how to read the charts. Use the indicators, look for news that has a catalyst. It means something, to pay attention to the volume, support, resistance, and getting your percent for your daily goal and get out. Don't be greedy. That is so key. Don't be greedy. And yeah, find your edge. Like, that's really it. You got to spend time on the charts, y'all. This person said, I'm making $200 every day easily, and then I go to work. Hello, I haven't hit the point yet where I can quit, but I'm getting there. And that's what it's about, right? Because $200 a day, like, what is that, y'all? And no, we're not talking about trading every day we're not talking about trade every day. What if we say 200? Okay, let's just say that you trade half the year, right? I mean, that's $26,000 if you're trading half the year. Right. I mean, that's $26,000 if you trade half the year at $200 a day. So, I mean, I think that's really good. This person says trading is not a mathematical science. There is no engineered solution to a chart. Charts are non-linear. That is why a lot of people struggle. Example, a chef with their cooking skills, I believe, will have a better chance of succeeding. No two meals are exactly the same. They have the ability to be flexible in their craft and a bit extra here, not so much there. If you think I'm crazy, that's fine. The core thing to remember is charts are non-linear, so be flexible. And you know what? I want to recommend everybody, I think it's Trading in the Zone. Let me see. Trading in the Zone. Yeah, Trading in the Zone, by Mark Douglas. I always say go and read that book, because like what this guy or girl here is saying, is key. Because what I've learned is that a lot of people that are in really technical fields, like such as myself, have a lot of trouble trading, right? And we think that it should be easy for us because, heck, if you can go and pass the highest level of math in college, you would think that trading should be easy, but it's completely not that. And I probably make a video on this, but there's this breakdown that has to happen, because trading is a world where there are no rules. There are no rules. There are no rules. You have to create them. And then from there, you've got to follow them. So I think, man, that comment is so spot on, man. Let's see what some other people say. Trading is a marathon, not a sprint. I can never quit. How am I supposed to afford to live, work 4 jobs? Hey, look, you getting caught up in the money there. We're going to have to let that one go. And this person says, these are just pretty terrible reasons to quit. Seems like you learned absolutely nothing over the last 2 years. I mean, I just think it comes back to the person is just really, maybe this just really isn't for them. This person says the only good trade I ever made was buying Tesla in 2017 and selling it during that COVID mania to pay off my mortgage. Now I have everything in VOO. That's not day trading. That's long-term investing. But I think what it really comes back down to is this person got into this because they saw the potential with money, and it just didn't turn out like that. Like, this isn't something where you just come in and say, oh, I'm gonna put in this much and I'm gonna get out this much. It just doesn't work like that. Like, if you really are into this, then the best thing for you to do when it comes to investing is go like invest in an index fund. Go invest in something that's a little more, stable, going to give you more consistent returns over time. They're going to be slower, right? Because, pretty successful day traders, they can outperform an index fund most of the time in a given year. So, and they can do that in a month, right? They might be doing 10% a month, and your average index is doing 10% in a year. So I think that for somebody like this just probably isn't a profession for them. They should be doing something where they really feel like they're making a meaningful impact. And it looks like that's what they decided to go and do. So, kudos to them. They gave it a try. It didn't work out. It is what it is. We all can move on. And I hope that you guys have kind of listened to some of these comments, listened to what I've said, and you taking some feedback, and you figure out, is trading for me? Because if it's not, that's okay. But if it is, get on these charts, and I'm telling you, don't give up. Work on this. You got to spend some time here. You really got to spend some time here, and you've got to go and be disciplined yourself, because nobody is going to stop you from pressing buy, sell. Nobody is going to stop you from letting that trade that ran up so far and the profits go back and stop you out. Nobody's going to stop you from making any of those kind of decisions. So I just really would say, if you're struggling, don't give up. This isn't the time to give up. This is the time to put more time into the charts, right? That's the only thing that's going to get you closer, is put more time in the charts. Be more consistent in your approach. Stop going from strategy to strategy. Stop thinking there's a holy grail, because it don't exist. Like, stop all of that BS and just put the time in, y'all, and just don't give up. Because the difference between winning and losing is giving up. The difference between you being successful or not is giving up. Don't be one of those people. All right. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you on the next episode. Peace.